I've been there a while.
They,
I went with it with grandma
let me
for
tell
look books.
let me tell you something.
For,
If you're trying in an emergency, if you're trying to find the high end Legos,
oh, I know they are good
they
for.
have the Legos. I was like, whoa! They have like the one piece one that I was gonna get Kenny, that I want to get Kenny for Christmas. But
Yeah, they charge full price for them too. There's no
yeah,
actually you can't get the only place you could get Legos discounted, if you will, is Target. Because if you have a Target card, you get 5% off.
right. But I don't know if
Anywhere
do they
else,
have the high end Legos? I don't know if they have the high end ones. They're like $300, $400.
no, not a lot of places do. You have to go online or you have to go to the Lego store. But you're right. But even on Amazon, the high end ones, they're going to charge you the same price Lego is. You don't get
Yeah,
any.
there's no Legos are like the Apple of
Yeah,
the world. Like they're little bricks. Each one costs less than a penny to make, and they charge you $400 for them.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go play Minecraft. Same thing. I'm surprised no one's done like a Lego Minecraft.
There is.
Oh, is there a Lego Minecraft?
Yeah, there's Lego everything. Yeah, every show has a Lego.
Oh no
No,
no
there's a
no!
Minecraft.
I mean like a free version that someone like ports over so that you can make Legos, but in Minecraft. Like
Well, I
I've
think there
looked
is something a Lego Minecraft. You could box. I forget what it is, like the square
yeah
head thing, doll or person
yeah.
or
I mean
whatever.
other way around to build Legos virtually, basically.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what you mean. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I don't
Man,
know
we're
that.
tired.
Yeah, really.
Man, we're tired. What else did we do? We watched. I told Dad we watched Mufasa. I don't know if you saw Mufasa. Good movie. I like that
From
one.
Lion King,
Yeah. So it's the story of Simba's dad. I was like, okay, this is pretty good, pretty
the
solid.
brothers, how the brothers hated each other.
Yeah. Oh wait, you've watched that movie?
No, it's Lion King. They hated each other. Mufasa and I forget what
Scar.
was the brother's name. Scar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, his real
And how
name's
Scar got the
Taka.
scar.
But yeah.
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 So that's
Scar.
what it's about. That's what the.
So we
I
knew
don't
they
remember that.
hated each other from Lion King.
Well, they
Scar
didn't.
wanted to be the
Yeah.
king.
Yeah.
So he took it
There's
out on the cub. But you knew the brothers
there's so
hated
much more to the story, Ma. You don't understand.
layers. It's layers. Like an onion. You gotta
That
protect the layers.
and then we watched Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2 yesterday. So those were good movies too. I like
Yeah.
Despicable Me with the
And
minions.
people, I see those minions everywhere. Never seen them.
It's actually it's a good movie. It's worth watching. And then today we're gonna watch the apparently the Marvel Zombies show is really good. I don't know if you've seen the
I think
Marvel.
I've seen ads for it. What does it stream on?
It's an animation. I think it's on Netflix,
Oh,
but apparently it's only 4 episodes. Apparently it's really good. That I started Tires. I like Tires.
Oh, yeah,
Shane Gillis one. I think I'm
second
4
season?
episodes in.
Did you watch the first season?
I'm not done with the first season yet, but I'm in the
okay.
first 5. It is good. It is funny.
Yeah.
So
The second one was funny too, but it's like stupid humor. Like some of it's really stupid
yeah,
humor.
Shane Gillis.
But-
Is, I mean, it's all comedians in there.
Yeah.
Watching Stavros eat a sandwich every time. You know, Stavros.
Yeah.
Stavros is the bigger dude, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Stavros. So yeah, but
And
that's
the
pretty much
woman in it too. She's got some funny lines in the second season.
Kyla Fox.
Yeah, the one
Kayla
who
Fox.
works at the front desk.
Yeah,
She's funny.
yeah. I mean, they're good shows. But yeah, I'm not a big TV person, as you know. So
We've been streaming a lot more, and we've been watching. Dad and I've been watching Longmire. I told you about that one, the Wyoming
No.
sheriff.
oh yeah.
That one we've been watching, and I started watching All Creatures Great and Small, which used to be very popular on regular TV. But they redid it. The BBC redid it for Masterpiece Theater as a series. I think it is still going. You know, it's like 5, 6 seasons, and it takes place in the 1937. It starts, but it's about a vet doctor in the countryside of the United Kingdom
Right.
right before World War II, and it's based on his books. James Herriot was the vet and his experiences, and it's cute. You know, it's interesting to look where you see where England is now, the UK is now with all that's going on, and how it's changing. I don't know if I think it's Yorkshire where they videotape. I'm not sure, but it's
Right.
country, all green area. You know, I don't know how much that's changed in the UK in terms of the diversity and people coming in, migrants and whatnot. But to see the old world back then and how people lived, the simple life versus now.
I saw little fun fact: Stranger Things, right?
Yes.
The 4th season, the new one coming out, I think, or whichever season they're on.
Yeah.
So each episode is going to be 90 minutes, and each episode has a $400 to $450 million budget. How crazy is that? I think
Yeah.
that's going to be I think that's the most money spent per episode of all that. It better be a 10 out of 10. Otherwise, what a waste of money that's going to be. But I saw
Well,
that and I was blown away.
I don't know if they started it, but that's what Game of Thrones was becoming in their last season.
Right.
They did longer ones, but fewer ones. And it was a ridiculous amount of money to make each one. But I would never put Stranger Things in league with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm like, how'd they get the budget for this? But then I realized I think it's kind of the only Netflix series that they have. I can't think of another one. Like, what's their big show?
They have, yeah. I mean, that was a big one. But they've had a few. They took a hit recently. They're claiming it was administrative, but I think it was a lot of people dumping their subscriptions over the transgender kid
Kid
shows.
show, yeah.
Yeah, because their hit came all at once.
Well, Elon's the one that told them. Everyone was like, cancel your subscription. That's what Elon said to do. You know what Elon says kind of goes. So
I guess it did have an impact because people weren't paying attention, and I didn't know. You know, Netflix has been iffy, right? We went through a period where they had that other teen show that was everyone was up in arms. I forget what it was called, and they lost a lot of subscribers to that one.
yeah, it's just weird to have it in kids shows. Like someone
Yeah.
brought up a good point. Like you should have a disclaimer.
Well, which is remember, it's kids shows.
Yeah, which is yeah.
Put a disclaimer.
I don't
That's
know.
the whole point. It's a little bit of a paradox, but yeah, I don't know. I don't obviously we don't. I don't. I'm not concerned about those shows because we don't have little people. But it's just one of those things where yeah, it's not right. They're
We don't have little
throwing things out
people.
there. Well, I mean, young
Yeah,
kids.
young
I mean,
kids.
I don't know anybody who's. I don't know too many people, to be honest, who stream stuff for their kids. Usually, they throw a video in.
Yeah, toss an
Normally
iPad to them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just can't imagine even little kids doing the whole streaming thing with the TV, unless it's more user friendly than what we do.
Oh, nowadays kids
Maybe
can
they-
figure that out so easily.
I guess so, but to put on a show and watch I don't think, frankly, I don't think kids have the patience to go through all that to look for a show on TV.
Right.
They'd rather just pop the video in or put on the computer. So I don't know, but anyhow, they do have some good shows on there. It's just kind of a shame. Grandma was loving the Virgin River. She
Virgin
loved
River.
that series. That was very popular but that's a niche one also. Just certain people. That's like a Hallmark Channel type show, but on Netflix.
Right.
So they do have a few hits that people want to go back for. But anyhow, I go with the show. So I stumbled on Longmire, for instance, because it was an 8.4 out of 10. Because I do look at the rankings.
From
when I'm
who? That's my question. Because let me tell you, if it's an IGN is so hard to trust nowadays. They have some of the worst takes.
Well, I think it's the viewers because I often get asked my feedback every time I watch something,
Right.
and I don't always do it, but and I've hit some duds with that. I got to admit,
Yeah.
but this one was consistently pretty good even from the beginning. Still liking it. Dad stumbled into it because I'm watching it, so he comes in after he works
Yeah.
out.
I don't know if Dad's ever actually seen the start of an episode of anything.
No, I don't think so either.
Dad comes in halfway through of every episode of show. He's like, "What's this about?"
Do you know how hard it was with Game of Thrones? Trying to explain that to him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like midway, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I had to watch it twice. You're gonna come in now, midway?
Please
I think
explain
you
it to
came
me,
in,
yeah.
like, the second or third season. Who are these people? Like, what? I can't explain this.
Yeah.
I can't.
Especially
Sorry.
because of how deep the lore goes of Game of Thrones. Like the lore of Game of Thrones. Did you watch House of Dragons or did you give up on that?
No, I watched it.
Oh, is that decent? Is that like just not just as good, I'm sure, but
Yeah, it's yeah. I think for Game of Thrones people, you have kind of a prejudice when you start watching it.
right.
Because remember I told you that the one thing I found odd about it was it's supposed to be a period of time long before when Game of Thrones takes
Right,
place.
like 900 years or something like that.
And even though it's still a fantasy world in both places, there's no change in time. Like they all dressed the same or similarly. The sets were similar.
Mhm.
You didn't see any. Like to me, it should have been a little bit more.
Too much budget.
Yeah,
Too much
or,
too little of a budget to reuse
it's
stuff.
hard to grasp that it's from a period of time long beforehand. So it takes you a while to get used to the whole idea of, okay, these are the ancestors of the people from the show, because there's no time difference. Like, it's different if you put on a show from ancient Rome, there's a difference between ancient Rome and today. The way that people live, what they dress. You don't see a lot of that differences between the two. So it's really like watching another Game of Thrones, but with different characters that you
Gotcha.
kind of know the names of. And even that I had to go,
Well, I was
and
just thinking. Oh,
interesting
go ahead.
too, not that it makes a difference, but there's a lot of diversity,
Hmm.
more diversity in the dragons because they produced it later on where there were more people of different colors. They were trying to hire more diverse actors, different backgrounds, Asians. And again, it's a and black people, and it's a fantasy time. So there's nothing to say that they didn't exist back then because it's not historical; it's fictional. So that's a bit of a difference too. You didn't see as much of that in the Game of Thrones because that was when they were still keeping kind of, it wasn't as diverse when you do stuff.
Right.
Like even the show I'm watching now, All Creatures Great, the BBC show. So that's 1937. They have black children that come to the house as well as, mixed in with other children. I don't have a problem with that, but technically I'd be really surprised if back then, even in the UK, you had black children just going to the vet's house for a Christmas party with the other kids.
Hmm.
Doesn't change the whole theme, and there are more black actors and Indians in it that I don't think at that time, just because it wasn't that diverse in the UK back then.
Right. Well, I mean, with social media nowadays and Sora AI, you might not even need budgets for
Right.
these shows anymore. Not to completely do a. We're
Segue?
rusty. We're rusty because we haven't done a transition in 2 weeks. We haven't done a podcast in a while, but yeah, I mean, we're officially kind of at that point. We say this every podcast. We're there. We're there. Michael has been using Sora too, like crazy. Him and
Yeah.
Kenny. I love those videos. I think they're hilarious. But
Yeah, fine.
considering that's just the free version and they're able to make that, it definitely scares me where we're going. We talk
Yeah.
about this all the time, but the AI videos are just getting unbelievably good. Let me just pull up the article
I
for this
saw,
because I was like, whoa.
yeah, I mean, I saw another article about it. I didn't pull it for this week because I've been doing a lot of AI ones, but the article was about, where's your screen?
Just shared it.
Oh, yeah. About how a lot of the techno leaders and techno CEOs and whatnot are even saying we got to slow this down. It's
Can I
going too
let me
fast.
tell you some bullshit though? Let me tell you some bullshit. Remember when the writer's strike happened and Hollywood didn't say a word? Only the writers
Yeah,
really said a word. Now it affects
yeah,
their jobs, and now they're like, okay,
right.
we gotta stop at the Sora. It's like, hey,
That's right.
you gotta. It's funny how they preach a different tune when they were saying, oh, it's not gonna affect us. Actors will never be taken over. Literally, here's
But
Robin Williams in a
you
video.
know who was speaking out on that though back then? Justine Bateman.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember, she came out, to her credit, she was saying, hey, nobody's addressing this AI stuff. And we now know she's a conservative, or she tends to lean conservative in the Hollywood community. But she brought up that point at that time that
Right.
even the head of the Actors Union, they're not talking about this, and nobody's factoring this into these contracts.
Was it
So,
Scarlett Johansson that was having some AI problems? I don't remember which actress it was. It was definitely an actress. But everyone was kind of like, what's the point of this? You're kind of overthinking it a little bit with the lawsuits.
yeah,
I could be wrong on Scarlett Johansson. It might be another female actress. But now we're at the point, which that was probably, 6 months ago, I would say.
yeah,
Now we're at the
yeah,
point where literally I'm looking at Tupac and Robin Williams back to life.
yeah.
So yeah, it's just amazing to see. And as I said, Michael's been using it. I love looking at Mike. I should post them, the ones that Michael has sent of him and Kenny. I had to say Kenny doesn't look great in them, but Michael looks phenomenal in those. But I have to ask
I thought
Michael,
they look good. I don't know. I think they both look good.
the WWE
Football
one
one.
wasn't good. The football
Well,
one was good. The WWE one wasn't great. Hold on, I gotta see if I can find it.
but they don't put them up if they don't want you to.
You think Mike's gonna give a shit? I won't put him up, but I'll ask him. But
No,
I
you
just
gotta
want.
ask them first.
I don't think so. I don't think I need to. I don't think so. Let me just see if I can find it. My grandma.
I didn't even know the
put it.
one that they did at the kitchen, where they tackle each other
Yeah,
over the water. Stupid me, I'm like, whose apartment is that? Not realizing the whole thing was AI.
the
You had
whole
told me
thing,
that.
every piece of it is AI. So you
I
can,
don't know why you would do that as AI. You
yeah.
could just film yourselves doing that. But
You can tell with audio. Like if someone's speaking, you can kind of tell based on the audio cues that it's AI. But if you're watching something that doesn't have any audio cues, like lines being said,
Right.
it's tough. I've seen some.
Yeah.
I've seen some falls that I was like, oh man, that's a deadly fall. And then I realized, oh, they didn't fall. It's a AI. Or well, they fall. Yeah. But the big cat, the big dog, or what was it that you sent us? Missy Buns running through. I was like, oh my God. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
those are fake. But if you were trying to do something malicious
Yeah.
and change, like, make it as realistic as possible and not just like a simple prompt like Michael's doing,
Yeah.
we're getting into dicey territory again.
Right.
So,
Well, we'll reach a point where we're gonna have to have some sort of check, like the blue checks from X. Remember that, to prove that you're authentic, you have to pay to prove you're
right,
authentic. But you're gonna need some sort of. It'll get to the point where you can't trust
right.
a video that you see. People just claim, "I didn't do that crime. That's AI."
Right.
Right?
But
Then
think
you have
about
to
this,
prove
Mom.
it.
2 weeks ago, we were talking about Sora and how it's just starting and all this.
Yeah.
So I saw an article the other day that there's officially, this is kind of separate, but talking about AI. In 2020, so far this year, I believe it was, there have been more articles written by ChatGPT than by humans.
Oh, that
How,
could be.
yeah, that's how crazy is that? And by there's a lot of criteria to that, like how many views did it get? Is it really just posting and throwing it away? The substance, is it just a line that uses, like there's so many things that, so many factors into what they decide to use in order to come to that conclusion, and if it's real or not, or take it with a grain of salt. But still, the fact that in less than a year there have been more articles than human articles is crazy. So,
Well, and what could halt it is what we talked about in one of the last, not the last, a couple podcasts ago, about how AI is drawing their content from somewhere, and they're not giving credit to the individual who created
right,
the content. So if you're writing an article, a science article, for instance, and you're pulling facts and data from scientific experiments or things that are published, you have to give credit to those individuals,
right.
and they're not doing that.
But I think what's
That's
scary and what everyone's really talking about, especially in the YouTube world, is it's bad. So, I guess the kind of behind the scenes of YouTube and stuff for people that aren't YouTubers is most YouTubers now, viewership wise, is in their shorts, right? The short
yeah,
form video, but it
yeah,
pays the least amount of money, right? So it's weird for us because long form is basically dead, except for podcasts, which is weird. Anything over an hour, people watch. Anything under an hour, they don't watch unless it's less than a minute. Right? It's
right,
like it just goes to show how bad everyone's attention spans are.
yeah,
But the problem is now we have to, like, I know you don't use social media, but every other thing that I look at on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever, is some form of Sora.
right,
Because the AIs are taking over. So now you see all the major YouTubers, including Mr. Beast, which makes, I think, the smaller creators like me nervous, is Mr. Beast has to focus on captivating a viewer in 30 seconds, the first 30 seconds of a video, than the rest of the video. He has to focus more on the beginning to hold someone's attention, right?
right,
And then have to compete with Sora. Like the shorts social media side, like short form videos are probably going to be dominated by AI pretty soon. Just
right,
dominated. Whereas long form, there's a little more to it. So that's why I think you're going to see the swing back to long form. I think people are going to get sick of AI pretty quickly when you just see fake stuff all the time. Or if they're looking for something specific, so
yeah,
if they're looking for instance, how to change tires, then they'd probably go to a long form video that someone actually did rather than an AI. So it has to be either specific, because Mr. Beast content is great, but if you can make it in a Sora, which I think his content, because his content is game shows essentially at this point.
mhm,
Technically, you could AI that.
yeah,
He's not so much, this might be crazy to say, he's not so much of a personality as he is a YouTuber with a giant budget, if that makes sense. He's a host, but I don't really
Yeah, I
see
don't know.
him as a personality.
I don't watch him, but my overarching feeling is I don't mind podcasts because I equate that to entertainment
Entertainment,
or
news.
education. Yeah, no, not even news. Like sometimes I don't listen to. I just want to listen to somebody chat about I don't know the life story, whatever. It's kind of the equivalent to books on tapes, like before there was a whole social media and podcasting and whatnot. It kills time and it's something to do while you're just sitting driving or don't have access to video. You just have audio, whatever. Um, this other stuff though, I just like even your brothers. It's funny and it's I don't mind looking at it, but I just kind of look at it like that's what you have to do with your time on your hands. Like you're very lucky, and I think it's a whole generational thing. No, not generational. It's like a time warp. It's a period of time where humanity has time on their hands.
Can I
It's like
take?
sitting.
I'm going to take you the other way though. It's not. I think it's because if they were to try and do that with their free time, it would take them days, right?
No, I'm
So,
just saying in general, I'm just looking at, as 90% of the content on social media, it's just slop. It's just
oh
garbage,
yeah,
right? The 10% that you get of quality or decent stuff, and I'm lumping everything in there, it's just a lot of people wasting a lot of time on that 90%. They have nothing else to do. Oh, I
right.
got a camera and I can post whatever I want to, and maybe I'll get a million views. It's like a crapshoot. Doesn't cost you anything but your time, right?
Yeah,
And
it's just now. I'm looking at it from a YouTube perspective of trying to be a YouTuber, all that stuff. The uphill climb just became steeper, which kind of sucks, especially for those YouTubers that are kind of in that midpoint where it's kind of a job, kind of not, or they're right on the cusp of it becoming a full-time job, and now it's like, oh, I might be completely out of a job very soon.
well, I mean, welcome to the world for everybody
Right.
with the AI. I mean,
Exactly.
this is becoming the reality for everyone doing everything. But I just say at the end of the day, and I'm not necessarily criticizing. It's a good thing that people don't have to work as hard to get through their day. Put it that way.
Sure.
Not their jobs per se. People don't have to work so hard to get through their
Right.
day. Young people don't have to go get up and go get a job. I don't know why, but as your brothers work. It's just that's what they choose to do with their free time. Great that you have that. It doesn't take long to do. But at the end of the day, it's funny, it's entertaining. But I look at it like, okay, what's the point of this?
Right. Uh,
It's
the
funny. I
only
mean,
reason I use YouTube as an example is because it's probably going to be the first thing that AI tackles because of how simple, like creating content and editing is difficult in a sense, but in comparison to what we're seeing the AIs do, like Sora, for instance, it's the first one that's going to be taken over. Like there's going to be a competition. Whereas like I don't think we're yet at the point where surgeons are going to be out of work. See what I'm saying? Or more in real life physical things.
oh right, we're
We'll
starting with
get there.
simplistic.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
it's simplistic stuff, and
yeah.
it just really it's uh, as as we heard again. I know we talked about this article. Somebody said everybody's so concerned about AI. I'm not that concerned because it's not doing anything. It's
Yeah.
just a waste of time right now. Nobody's using it for what it was supposed to be used
Sure.
for. Like it's
But
being wasted, if you will,
I
on a
agree.
lot of stupid stuff.
I agree, and I'm definitely in that same boat. But I think we can all agree there's going to be a point where that tips to, oh no, this is taking over everything. And we don't know when that tipping point is going to be, but we know it's an inevitable tipping point.
Yeah, but at least enough people are aware of it
Right.
that we're not blindly walking into this. Many are, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
and it's becoming ingrained, like your brothers and your generation, to use AI for everything. The sad part was like, oh, AI will do a list for you. AI will answer your phone for you. All right, so you just go sit in the sofa like a blob and let AI do everything for you. What's the point? What's the
Right.
point of living?
But
That's the hard thing.
that's kind of the inevitability though. It's not going to be for all of us, but it is the inevitability that's going to come. And I think as we all know, it's going to come sooner than later. I know it always sounds we're becoming the doom and gloom podcast with this AI stuff, but I guess because we outside of YouTube work with these AIs and see what they're capable of.
Well, I disagree in that last time I said, we had the article about how the president signed an order to use AI to cure children's cancer.
Sure,
Things like it was
that's
meant
great.
to be
Yeah.
used for is a good thing. This other stuff with young people doing it, that I don't, it doesn't bother me in the
Mhm.
sense that it's entertaining. It's to me, it's the equivalent of like using crayons, making a picture,
Right.
only you're doing it with social media and it's funny and it's blah blah blah. I just know I'm cynical. I know where they're going with this. They're trying to make it a part of everybody's life and making them think you can't live without this.
Right.
Guess what? You could live without making a video of yourself on Sora as Superman. You can do that. They don't want young people thinking that way.
Right.
I think the ultimate goal is not just AI. I think the ultimate goal is to chip human beings, to turn us into an AI version of ourselves where we don't know
you
what's
can
the
kind
human and
of
what's the
you can
AI.
kind of make the argument that we're kind of already in that point in the sense of this right here is the chip, but yeah,
No,
it's
because
definitely
people
a
can
step
exist
forward. Yeah.
without it.
My
It's
fear is
not
not so. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
People can exist without it.
Right.
They want to get to the point where they've convinced human beings that you cannot exist without this chip in you because you're just a boring human. You won't be
Yeah.
as good as everybody else.
See
That's what,
that is such a so that's the leap that I'm talking. Like I agree with you. We'll get to that eventually,
yeah,
but the catastrophes that I'm thinking about beforehand is presidential campaigns on TV that are all AI, right?
sure, yeah,
Or
yeah,
hey, here's a video of Trump actually doing stuff at Epstein Island, and then we find out, oh, it's Sora,
right,
right? That's the stuff that I'm scared of. And that's those things that we can literally do right now. Not in the future,
yeah,
literally right now you can do that. So
yeah.
that's where we've kind of killed that line. And
Well, and
I don't know how you stop something
said,
like that.
that's what I said at the beginning. It's going to get to the point, if we're not there already, where you need a disclaimer. So we talked
Yeah.
about that AI, that company that's generating AI podcasts, 200 a week, blah blah blah. They include a disclaimer. This is an AI generated podcast, so they will note that on there. Nefarious people who want to use things for bad things like Trump anti-Trump stuff or anti one individual stuff. Yet they're going to make it, and that person's going to say, "This is not a real video; it is AI," and we're going to waste a tremendous amount of time proving, disproving, blah blah blah, to the point where they're going to say, "We need some sort of system. We need a system that legally says this is AI, blah, blah, blah." That's what it's going to come down to. You're going to have to start legislating. Like, for instance, how do you think you feel if you're Robin Williams' kid and you have to see your father, your dead father, in a commercial?
Oh,
Okay.
I'll tell you the even worse one. Have you been seeing the MLK ones?
No, but I've heard that, they're
They're
crossing lines with
yeah, they're
things.
across a lot. Even the family was like, "Hey, can you put like out of respect, can you stop doing this?" Which is like the worst thing you can say on the internet. You gotta just
Right.
you have to let it fizzle out. Now more and more people are gonna do it,
Well,
but
or maybe some kids will say, that's fine, but I want money. That's my father. And if he was alive and doing that commercial,
right,
he'd get paid and it would go to us. That's bizarre too,
right,
but it's generating money from your dead parent.
right.
But guess what? If Marilyn Monroe had children, they'd be making a fortune
So
right
someone
now.
brought up a good point about the Sora stuff. So remember last time, actually the last podcast 2 weeks ago, we talked about how once your face is on there, you can have it taken off,
Yeah,
but you can never use it again. But
right.
that's if I was to upload it myself. So this is the steps that's going to happen if I were to bet. And I want everyone to mark this down right now, right? If I took someone's face, uploaded it on Sora against their will, like Martin Luther King or whatever,
Right.
like even though I didn't consent to that, to having my face put up there and someone puts it up, how do you deal with that? Well, then you're going to have licenses and you're going to have to
Right.
give your license in order to use it.
Right.
So, okay, great. So now they have my license, my image, all this stuff, all my information that I'm a US citizen, whatever. That's where you get to that point of like what we're seeing. Definitely China's social credit score, but that's what you're seeing in England in a way with the whole you have to have an ID or what is it, some kind of ID to uh, photo verification to have a job in the UK.
Right.
I forget what we talked about, but
Well, now
that
that's a little
concept.
bit different because if you choose, because we've have copyright laws, you could use people's images. Like I said, Marilyn
Mm,
Monroe, people have been making pictures of her, but her estate gave permission for that,
right.
and money's generated or somebody's paid and it goes to some fund or pays whoever, I don't know. But That's the same thing with, like, Michael Jackson and whatnot. His family gets money from that. You agree to do that. If they automatically say, "Well, anybody on the internet must have a digital ID of some sort, where you
Right.
consent to whatever or you don't consent," that's your choice then if you wanna be on social media and do that, right? You can say no. In the UK, they're saying you can't say no. That's the problem, or in China and communist countries, you can't say no. If you don't have it, you don't exist in their eyes as a human being.
Being right, right, right.
That's the crossover, and that's the problem. There's a difference between the social media world and the real world, right?
Yeah. I mean, we can go on and on forever about what AI could be. Like, I do think it's still the inevitable. But what my question is, there's going to be a point where Hollywood pushes OpenAI. Well, sorry, I was reading the article. I'm just getting tired. Hollywood pushes OpenAI for consent. Like, eventually, we're going to get to the point where Hollywood's just going to be like, just do it. Like, I think once you start seeing the major A-list celebrities start passing away, or when they're in their 80s and they're too old to work and they're like, hey, Tom, we can do one more Mission Impossible. We make you 20 years younger, right? Using AI. Why not? You're too old to work now, right? Just give us the estate. And then the whole new generation of actors and actresses are going to struggle for work because they're still competing with 140-year-old Tom Cruise, who's
Yeah,
still in his 40s.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's that swing that I'm talking about that eventually Hollywood's going to have to say yes to.
Well,
I would bet.
we're right back where we started in saying now they're getting a taste of their own medicine.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't want, I like people just to remember in the good old days, when acting and the theater and stuff, you got paid nothing when you were in Shakespeare's
Oh, yeah.
time. You got paid, they were looked upon as being, a joke, like one step up from prostitutes. Nobody wanted to be an actor or actress. You have the TV, really the age of television, maybe some black and whites with the major contracts for a handful of people, where they start paying extreme amounts of money to these individuals. We don't need it anymore.
Right.
We got streaming now. So they're getting screwed on a lot of fronts. People aren't buying the movie tickets anymore. People aren't necessarily buying into all the AI generated crap from
Could
them
I pause you
anymore.
real fast? I just saw a
Yeah.
stat. All of the amount of money that movies were making since this was the first time that it's just dropped drastically
Yeah.
because movies
Oh,
just aren't that good. Or not that they're not that good. It's just I'm sure there's great movies out there. It's just people would rather watch uh,
yeah, at
their
home in the
own
comfort of
things.
their home and
Sure,
not
yeah,
pay the money that you have to pay for a ticket and to go out.
yeah,
Used to be a thing you did on a Friday night, a date night or
yeah.
whatever. You went to the movies. It was an event. It was social. I'm not against that. I think there were some pluses to that. I had great experience as a kid. The excitement of going to a movie when Star Wars came out. All my friends were at the theater.
Nerd,
Those were great times. Well, whatever. I use that because
nerd.
everybody knows it. But those were great times. That doesn't exist anymore. Now I have no desire to go to a movie
Yeah,
theater.
and
And I
nowadays
can
with
watch it at home, but you know
yeah,
what? Actors don't have to get paid what they got paid.
yeah, and
They don't
now
have to make that money.
yeah. So now I saw an article. I don't know how true it was though. A lot of these companies will just kind of because they want the numbers. They know they can't beat pirating and streaming. So they're just like, we'll just give it to these people so we can get our numbers up and say, oh, even though we didn't make the money, it's being pirated. So people want to watch it. I was like, well, I mean, maybe that's true. It would make sense because pirating in video games is up so high right now, but that's kind of for a
Right.
different reason. Whereas movies, yeah, I mean, if I can watch it at home, I don't know, there's going to be a point where obviously there's always a pendulum, but there's going to be a point where the next Superman, they're not even going to put it in theaters. They're just going to go right to Netflix or something.
Well, look at
There's no
F1.
point.
F1 came out. That was supposed to be a blockbuster. I don't think it did very well, but that happens at the movie theater
Right.
too. They didn't even take it to the movies. They
No.
went right to streaming. It,
Well,
it just went right
yeah,
to was it Netflix, I think. But yeah,
Tron.
they're doing that more and more because that's the audience.
Yeah.
People watching at home on the movies.
So Tron, for instance,
Yeah.
the new
So I
one.
just gotta go put my foot in.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
Actually, while you do that, I'm just gonna get water. So as I was saying, Tron,
Yeah. Yeah.
fundamentally, it's a really good movie from what I hear, but it lost $150 million. It's down $150 million, and it's like, why does a movie that's apparently really good, which what's his name? What's the actor's name? I can't think of it. Jay Leno.
Jeff
No,
Bridges? Oh,
no,
Jay Leno.
Jared Leto. Uh, Jared Leto,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he's one of those guys that really like. This was the movie that was. He's always had bad roles, and that's kind of the joke between Morpheus, the
Yeah.
Joker. He's a good actor, but it just doesn't fit in things. The one movie where apparently he's really good in it is the one that technically flops, not because it's bad, but because people aren't going to the movie theaters.
Right.
So I kind of feel bad
Well,
for him
and also
in a
they
sense.
pay a lot of money to make these movies. So if they're not blockbusters,
Right.
they're at a loss. So
That's
it's
why.
really becoming such a gamble
Yeah.
to throw these movies out into the mainstream. It's literally a hit or miss. You either got
Yeah.
to make a lot. There's no like middle area anymore.
It's true. So that's why I wonder with something like Stranger Things that's going to have a $400 million episode budget. I always wonder with streaming if they really make that money back. Like that's tough.
Well, they make it also with Stranger Things. You got the lunch boxes, the
Yeah,
books,
exactly.
the character posters. You know, they made it's like the Star Wars days. You make it up in the
Yeah.
crap too. It's not just from the movie. So that seems really high to me though. You know,
Right?
there's a lot of graphics in that, and those stars, you know, they're big, but they're not that
That
big.
big, yeah.
You know,
Except for
it's
me, is Millie Bobby Brown in there? She's probably the only one that I could name.
yeah, and that show made her because she
Yeah.
was a nobody before that show, and yeah.
I can't
And she
name any of the
changed
other
her look.
kids.
I think she had plastic surgery. She looks very different now. So I don't know if
Yeah.
she came back for the fourth one. You know, some of these people think that they're such great big celebrities they don't have to do them anymore.
Yeah, I
And then
don't
they pay
know.
the price.
So, but yeah, like that was the movie in Hollywood industry is what's going to get hit the hardest, in my opinion. Like, I don't see any possible. Hold on one second. I just want to change the stream real fast. There we go. I don't see any possible way for them to recover from this except for going the AI route. Because from a production standpoint, let's just think about it this way, right? I'm Hollywood. I'm a guy making a movie. I have a $400 million budget. The odds of the movie, like I want to know what was the last movie that was profitable, right? With such a high budget. I'm sure they're out there. I just can't name any. But then I was like,
Yeah.
but to your point, why take the gamble when I can pay, let's say, $50 million for AI and hopefully make a quarter of what a 400 million budget does and maybe more, and it's considered a success. So from a budget cuts perspective, one, you save a lot of money on actors and actresses. That's
Yeah.
probably your first one with contracts. Also, probably a lot of headaches. And then if you put all your money into some level of AI, like I should say the bulk of it, I mean, you're saving money. You probably have a movie that's just as good. And these things are only going to get better. Like right now, people are like, oh, well, Sora is not at the point where it could do a full-length movie. Yeah, but how many years? And unfortunately, with these AIs, it's not so much years anymore. It's more like how many months until it can do it.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, that will be your government intervention. And remember, it's not just the actors who get screwed. It's the accountants, the producers,
producers, yeah.
it's the attorneys, it's all the supporting people who make up, you know, crazy Hollywood in California. That's an entire industry that is, hey, talk to every middle American who lost their job because of government intervention with trade deals and whatnot, shipped all their manufacturing to China. Nobody cared about that. Nobody cared about them, you know, and
Right.
their livelihood. And now all of a sudden, you know, these celebrities, and I won't even talk about the big wigs that make the big money. All the underlings, you know, the B and C level actors and
The
actresses,
underlings.
they're screwed. There will not be a big break for them. There
Right.
won't be, you know, unless, and probably will happen because we know, you know, it's the Democrats are very big, as big in that industry. The government will intervene and say you are not allowed to use more than 2 AI people. You must use, right, like they do with everything else. You
But
need
how
mandatory
long till
hiring.
those get relaxed, and how long until someone pushes for, well, I need 3 actors for this movie, and it's going to be a great movie, and then it does very well, and they go, okay, let's do 3, and then it eventually becomes 4. Like that's one of those things that even if you crack down on it, there's going to be too many loopholes. There's going to be too many. I think that would be tough, but I'm going to do a little segue here because we just spent half an hour on AI. But speaking of government intervention, where are we at in the shutdown? I feel like we kind of stopped. I feel like truthfully, I think the government shutdown got kind of pushed to the side a little bit with all the peace deal stuff that's been going on, which we'll talk about after this. But the Schumer shutdown, what are our thoughts on this one? Because do we see any progress on a resolution soon, or?
It has literally affected me zero.
Yeah, but it's affected Marines, troops, soldiers.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And some individual just donated $130 million
50,
to
yeah.
pay the troops. I personally feel they are essential, and that should be the first group of people who should be paid. Before you pay some of these other people, like, oh, we got to keep, the Social Security open and what?
Yeah,
Okay,
the Social
because we can't
Security
have a
Ponzi
machine
scheme.
print out the checks every
Yeah,
but um, yeah, I know they've had, I think, their 12th vote to end the shutdown, and once again, they would not. The Democrats and the Republicans would not budge, so it continues.
yeah.
I know some Democrat they have her on the record of saying, of course people are going to suffer, but that's our leverage. Well, that's a no-no in the
Well,
political.
but could you also technically say though, because right, Trump is kind of starting the mass firings now, where you could say that that's also a form of leverage.
Oh no, this was a wonderful, in my opinion, because I think our government's huge, and we're learning
Agreed.
that all
Yeah,
the people. Are we affected by this shutdown? Not really. It Could you get rid of 10,000 workers and I'll never know the difference? Absolutely,
absolutely.
because
Yeah,
I'm not affected by them now, and I don't want to hear them crying about how you can't fire us. We need jobs. Tell that to people in the private industry who get fired all the time.
yeah.
There's no safety net for them. If you're not needed, you're out. Okay?
It's true.
We just had two major stories from James O'Keefe. Okay? The Small Business Administration, they give out contracts and money, our tax dollars. And these people admitted on camera, one individual from both groups. I'm not familiar with the second group as much, but the first person. When you do minority contracts, which means you get loans subsidized by our tax dollars, you must agree to do 51% of the work as
Right.
a minority
Right.
group
Right.
or
Right.
whatever. Okay? They're admitting they don't do that. They pocket the money. That's against the law. Okay? 100 billion with a B dollars worth of this is going out fraudulently. Fortunately, O'Keefe did and even he admits, I had the most pathetic looking disguise on. You would think people would know by now, not at all. So now the SBA is investigating it. They're shutting down or they're ceasing all contracts until they get to the bottom of it, right?
Right.
Do I care? So you're going to tell me that we need all these people in government? No, I don't. It's just more money going out the door. So if you
Yeah.
tell me, well, we're going to cut 10,000 people out of the Pentagon or wherever, great.
The
I'll tell
Pentagon
you
that
don't
hasn't
do
gone
it.
through an audit in 30 years.
Right, right,
They're doing a great job. Does anyone know
right.
what the Pentagon actually does?
Well, the Pentagon is where that's our
Record base, right?
Department of War
Essentially.
is. Well, no, that's Department of War.
Oh, okay.
That's where our military is. That's where
Gotcha.
Hegseth is out of, and that's, the building that runs
It does
most of
all
the
of our
military.
military?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
I didn't know
Pentagon is
that.
the main source. I mean, I think there are offices.
I
in
thought it was
DC
more of
also,
like an
but
archive of like all the important documents of our
no, no,
country.
no, 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 no. That's the Pentagon. That's why they wanted to bomb it on 9/11. That was
Gotcha.
one of the targets because that's where our military, our command centers are, if you will, where we run our military out of. So the Pentagon is the hub in DC for
Right.
all our military.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crying over it. I believe that, if the business doesn't warrant it and we're just paying salaries and benefits and pensions and everything else, cut.
Right.
Perfect time to do it. We don't need these people to start cutting.
So how's back to the question of, is it looking like someone's gonna cave pretty soon? Or I would think, not to tie two stories together, but tell me if I'm wrong. After seeing the potential peace deal that's currently in the works with Trump over Israel and how successful he's been there, I feel like it's kind of been pointed at the Democrats a little bit like, hey, he's doing something right. It's time for you guys to do something right too, which is stop the shutdown.
Oh, the Democrats are trying very hard. They're not used to this because they usually get their way. And this time they're not getting their way. Because the American people voted for this. We voted to get rid of these bloated, and thank God for Doge, right?
Yeah,
That
true.
group pointed out how much money is being wasted. Now, Americans knew this when they went to
Oh,
the ballot
yeah.
box for Trump, but now it's in our faces and you can't deny it. And that's why more and more people are saying what we've been saying on the podcast. The Democratic Party has no message. They're dead. They are fighting
Yeah.
for illegal people. They are fighting to keep the voting messed up. They're fighting for health care for everybody that we can't afford.
You know who I can't stand anymore? Freaking Bernie Sanders. I watched Tim Dillon had him on the podcast, the Tim Dillon show.
Yeah.
Man, that guy, I don't know if it's just like so mentally gone or whatever it is, but he has a whole book that came out. He wrote it a few years ago, and he goes, the most disgusting thing in our country is the oligarchs, like Elon Musk, who's able to pay for Donald Trump's election, right? His campaign.
Mhm.
Right. And then you bring up Kamala's campaign and how multiple people funneled billions and billions of dollars into her campaign, and everyone still doesn't know where it went. And he's just like, I get your point, but let me change topics. It's like, okay, well, answer the question. You have to have the same energy going for one way than the other way. And then he talks about no one should have more than $1 billion. It's like, okay, maybe that's true, or socialized medicine, but it's like, hey, you have 4 houses. Each one's over $1 million, right? You can't claim socialism and be worth X amount of millions of dollars and say, well, I don't have $1 billion, so it's not the same. It's like, I don't know, seeing
Well,
that
and
guy go back and forth, and like he does such a good job he's a politician, so he does such a good
can
job
I
at like,
can I just
go
point
ahead.
out Bernie Sanders has never held a job in his entire
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. He's been a senator for 40
He's
years at least.
always been in politics.
Yeah.
He's never had a full-time
Right.
private sector job. And it's amazing what these individuals are able to amass
Yeah.
after never having I mean, I don't even think he flipped burgers in McDonald's when he was a
Yeah.
kid. I think he
Nothing.
never had a job. So they make government their job, and
Right.
hypocrisy is what greases the
Right.
wheels.
But
You
what
know,
bothers me the most, not so much, again, I don't care where he is on the political spectrum. If he wants to be pro socialism, go for it. It'll never work, but fine. But you can't say, oh, well, the right is doing this. And then when you get called out on them doing the same thing on the left, he goes, well, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. It's like, okay, no, you're not. Stop calling yourself an independent. You're really not. Just because you
right.
have one different idea that has never worked before, like socialism, you think it's going to work, right? And so you're independent. That's not how that works. And then when you get called out having the same argument against you, you go, well, let's change topics. Let me tell you another issue with Trump. And it's like, okay, no, answer the freaking question. So again, a politician at that level who's been in there for 40 years, it's not that they're good at their job. They're good at speaking and making you think, oh, I'm the good fun guy. When in reality, no, you're so out of touch that.
Mhm.
And I think Tim Dillon kind of saw that. I think he agreed with him on a lot of things. But right, so Bernie Sanders, I mean, take all the stuff that new New York governor is doing, Mandami or whatever his name is,
Mayor of New York City
mayor.
candidate.
Yeah,
He's not the mayor
who
yet, but he's expected to
to
win.
win? Yeah, and he says, oh, he's not for socialism. He's not for this. He's not that. And then you roll the tape, and the guy's like, I'm pro socialism. I'm pro this. I'm pro that. And it's like, hey, Bernie, you just said he's not the same guy. Right? You said no, he's not into that, and then he says it right there, and then he backpedals. He goes, well, and it's like, hey, Bernie, figure it out. So again, that's a guy that's too far gone. But I'm so tired. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I'm so tired of these Democrats having the energy towards one thing, getting backed into a corner, and then trying to change subjects. Like this is completely on Chuck Schumer, the stoppage, who's
Well, it's
refusing to
not.
bow.
I wouldn't say that's just Democrats. There are plenty of Republicans who can pivot. They call it pivoting.
Yeah,
Or to your point, changing the subject. That's what politicians
yeah,
do.
it's what they do.
If they don't want to answer it, or they nowadays they use the term, oh, they give a word salad. So they don't answer it, they dance around it, and they don't
Like
directly
Kamala.
answer it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I
And
just
that's
can't stand Bernie Sanders anymore.
unfortunately that is becoming the offshoot of for people who say, oh, we don't need voter integrity. We don't need voter rights laws. I still go back to if you don't fix voting in this country, get used to the hypocrisy
Yeah.
because it's going to get rampant. And to your point, the AI stuff and everything else, if you don't allow people to make a choice and have a voice, right? You're going to get a mishmash mosh message,
Right.
right? And Donald Trump it had to be too big to steal. which is
Right.
why he won. They would have tried to steal it. And when you do that, now you allow. So, for the example being, okay, so Massachusetts, for instance,
But mother, it's
Massachusetts,
not that Trump won. Bernie Sanders says it's because Elon backed him. He won. Like that's the
right,
craziness
and it,
that
and that's absurd.
yeah
But Elon used to be the dream child of the liberals. They
yeah.
loved Elon with the electric everything, and now they hate
And
him.
then he bought out Twitter, and they were like, "You piece of shit."
Right. And when people are, it is a form of derangement when you can't even see something that blatant. So now it's not even hidden anymore. It's blatant. People go on the news and claim, I want to kill my opponent. I think my opponent should be dead. That's not
Yeah,
blatant. I mean, or that's blatant. That's not, in the past they'd make comments like, oh, I think they should lose and their family should move. Now they're outright saying it. In the past, you couldn't get away with that.
yeah,
Your career would be over as a politician. But now they have leeway because you know what? I'll stuff a few boxes and I'll get reelected. Or I'll have the mainstream media gloss over it and say, I didn't really mean that. I'll get away with it. Voters don't have the opportunity anymore to say, you know what? Overwhelmingly, this is not what we want. Because you know what? We'll throw a few
yeah.
liberals in there that we pay to vote. Interestingly enough, Massachusetts, the state of, 35% of that state is a registered Republican.
I saw that. Yeah,
There is zero representation in the Senate or the House that I know of in Massachusetts. How could 1/3 of that state be a certain way and you don't have one House of Representative or one? I don't believe
right.
there is. I mean, maybe I'm talking out my ass, but the statistic I saw on the federal level, that is, and they're talking more about the gerrymandering and district and whatnot. Right there, that's how somebody like an Elizabeth Warren could say whatever she wants to, blah, 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 no matter how hypocritical or spot on, maybe she's right about some things, and never get pushback
Yeah,
because you're never going to vote. They're never going to have a voice in that state.
right.
It's just not going to change. And that doesn't make sense in our country. It just doesn't make, something's not right there. So you'll hear more hypocrisy. People make this stuff up. They don't care.
Yeah.
They got nothing to lose. That's the problem. They got nothing to lose.
I was gonna say something. Crap. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, so
What
we just
you know
don't
what
see
you
the
can have? You can have work-life balance.
the one that was like, maybe we should cut that one.
Oh, you cut it?
That was fine. CEO of $8 billion AI company says it's mind-boggling that people think you can work 38 hours a week, have a work-life balance, and be successful. It should be
Yes.
20.
I totally agree with Mr. Feldman, CEO Andrew Feldman. He's the CEO of AI Cerebras. Okay? Says there's no such thing as a 30-hour work week if you want to
I don't even know what
be
a third.
successful.
What is a 30-hour work week? Is that like
38 hours.
What is that like two? What is that? 3 hours a day?
No. A standard work week is 40 hours.
Right.
9 to 5, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
That's a 40-hour work week, and you get time off for lunch. Was an hour
Right.
for lunch, okay? I know he's coming up with 38 hours from, but the standard is 40 hours. His point is, and this has always been true, people, even when I was younger, if you want to get ahead, you don't go in at 9 and leave at
so
5.
this is just my brain or my generation or just because how I work. When I hear 30 hours a week, I think Saturdays and Sundays too.
No.
Yeah, that's because I'm not. Again, I feel like you should be working every day if you have the time.
Well, no, if you read the article, that's his point. Most successful or somebody in there was saying, I get 6 hours on Saturday. That's what I give myself away from work. That's it. The rest of their time is devoted towards if you want to create something, if you want to succeed at something, and if you want to make a difference. This baloney of work-life balance is really that.
Yeah.
And that's always been true. Even when I was younger, if you want to get ahead, you got to put in the extra hours because everybody's there 40 hours. If you want to look like a hard worker, you better maximize those 40 hours. Or if you're in an environment where everybody's a top-notch worker for those 40 hours, you got to stand out, which means you stay 41, 42, 43 hours. That's an example of a work week. Nowadays, people work on weekends, nights. There's no vacation time.
Yeah, one thing I'm not a big fan of Mark Cuban, but one thing he said that kind of, as someone, I'm fortunate enough, I've been able to meet a couple people at that level. They don't know what a full night's sleep is. Like I forget how Mark Cuban put it, but he said if you're getting a full night's rest, you're doing something wrong. I was like, damn, like that's how you know like those people are just psychotic. Like there's a level. And like what I mean is a good psychotic when it comes to the work week. Like, yeah, I mean, to be a billionaire CEO, you're not sleeping every night. The
Right,
concept,
and
like,
then
oh, my workers do all the work for me, isn't really a thing. That's like what you see in
yeah,
movies.
and not when you're starting out either, like,
Right.
that's their
Yeah.
point. I'm sure they get to a point where they may be driven by ideas and whatnot. They're not driven about, "I gotta get ahead and make that
Right,
money,"
right,
'cause
right.
they're at that point,
But
but
I
they
think you have to
become
be at that point. Like you have to be like that at the beginning to stay where you are later. Because like most billionaires, I forget what the statistic is, but most of them come from nothing and become billionaires, right? So usually it's because of a loss. Like there's a great Grant Cardone is a real estate mogul, right? Just did very well. Oh, I don't think he's a billionaire yet. He might have just hit that point, but right, his father walked out on him. His mother lived in a trailer park, drug addiction, all that. They would basically get evicted every month, and his brain was just wired to, I don't want to be in this place. He'll go to court over $1. Right? If the government tries to take $1 from him, he's in court the next day for that dollar, and the guy's worth almost $1 billion.
yeah.
So I think that's the kind of psychotic that you have to be at like a billionaire level, even a multi-hundred millionaire level, you know? And
I don't you know what? I don't think it's psychotic. I think based on the society that we have or the younger generations. Remember, they're looking for ways to not go to work. There are actually people out there
oh yeah,
fighting to stay home. I don't want to work with her. And their point is you don't have to. They're not telling you to do that. But their point is you're never going to get to the level that we're at, or you're kidding yourself if you think you're going to be that millionaire or that billionaire, which is becoming more common, if you're gonna mail it in. And the ending comment was there is no magic number 40, 50,
yeah,
60. It's about getting the work done. And when you're starting a business, every day work needs to
yeah.
be done.
Like if
When
you're,
you have an idea,
yeah,
every day you're working. You're working at night. You're working when you get up. You're
yeah.
you're devoting it. There is no work-life balance. If you want that, that's fine, but you can't bitch that you don't have
Don't
it because
have it.
people
Yeah, yeah,
have.
yeah. Why can't you take a vacation day? I can't tell you how many people tell me like, "Oh, I'm going on vacation." And I'm like, "What do you mean you're going on vacation?" Like, I know your finances. You should not be taking a vacation.
Yeah,
you know?
well,
So that's what I mean. Like, yeah. But also I also love the people that like Bernie Sanders, for instance, who say no one needs to be a billionaire or whatever. And it's like, you don't understand. These people aren't there. It's not like they want, it's not so much about the money, it's about the next thing. So
right.
the way someone we know put it to me, like said it to me, was why did LeBron James not stop after one championship? Right? Why does he go for two when he goes, why does he go for three? One is all you need to say that you're a champion. And he said
Yeah.
it's kind of the same mentality with billionaires. They don't care about the actual number. They care about the next one, the next one, the next one. And it's like, oh,
Right.
yeah. That's why LeBron keeps winning championships. It's like telling LeBron, hey, you got your one championship, stop playing.
Right.
It's people don't get that mindset. And even I don't understand that mindset because
No, and many
obviously.
people, it's not about the money either. There are countless scientists out there just driven by the fact
Absolutely.
that they
Yeah.
wanted to find that
Knowledge.
cure. They wanted to find that, and they lived in the lab, and they lost their
Yeah.
family, and marriages broke up over it. It's they have a certain drive, and I
Yeah.
think, thank God that we still have people like that, because I always get nervous that the younger generation is becoming
Right. Soft.
too lackadaisical.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean American people, I just mean in general, as back to what we are saying originally. A lot of time on our hands
Yeah.
compared to other generations. Doesn't
Well,
mean you're lesser, but are we taking advantage of that extra time that's being given to us by technological advances? Or are we just like
what
becoming
I
mental
would
blobs sitting in front of the screen all day?
what I would love to ask someone who says the shit like, "Oh, I can do 30 hours a week or I deserve a vacation." Take Elon, for instance, who's one of the wealthiest people in the world. When he was working at Doge, he would sleep at the office. When was the last time you heard of someone that slept at their office?
Yeah, no,
You
I
think my
mean,
generation would do that? Sleep at an
no,
office?
no.
I sleep here every night, Ma. No, I sleep in my office every night.
Well, I mean, we do know individual young people who work very hard. I
True.
do know that. I know they stay late, and I know they do what they have to do. But they're almost looked at as, freakish for doing it, or they're considered special for doing it. That to me, from my generation, it was expected. You didn't have to do, well, I shouldn't say expected. It was expected if you wanted to get ahead. You could go in and do a 9 to 5 job, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know plenty of people who don't want to do all that. They want to be with their family. They want to go to all the the recitals, the pageants. Mothers and fathers want to do all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. I would encourage people to do that if you have kids,
Right.
right? It's not fair to have a dad who's never home or a mom who's putting in 60-hour work weeks. What a life for that kid.
True.
They'll never want for anything other than the attention of a parent, right? But
And
it's a different lifestyle.
statistically, like that really messes up a kid when the parents are in home working. Like the numbers on that is not good. So
Sure. I mean, we really have to assess. There's nothing. I firmly believe in work-life balance, but then you got to adjust to the fact that you're only going to go to a certain level, and many people are fine with that.
yeah,
But his point and others' point is, if you think you're going to be in a league that we're in, that's not happening with a 30-hour work week,
right.
or 40-hour work week. It's a fair statement, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to switch it up real fast, Mom, because I want to get to the third major news of the last 2 weeks is the peace deal, the Trump peace deal, as they're calling it, because this is the first time he's really had his idea out there. What is the consensus of the peace deal? Just because I haven't really checked the internet. Are we good? Is it done, Ma? Is Israel, Palestine, Gaza, is that all done? Are we?
It's a process. The hostages were released.
Mhm.
We've had some issues with Hamas causing some trouble.
Did they?
And yes, there was a little issue with some, I believe, Israeli soldiers, the IDF. But I think Trump is laying down the law on a lot of these individuals, including Israel. I'm not going to be happy if you do this, that, the other thing. It seems to be a very well crafted deal, but like any other deal, everybody has to stay in the up and up, and it just takes one person or one group of people, like a Hamas, to overstep their bounds or decide, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
And now you've got the way it's been set up, and I'm not too involved in all the details of it. He's brought in a lot of people a lot of groups in that region, which is a good thing. Some people don't particularly care for Qatar. We don't trust them, whatever. But it was very important that they were brought in because, they're involved financially with many of these groups there. They funded many of these groups there, and we need them, like hands on the table so we can see what everybody's up to a little bit better than before. Was it Israel? And I want to speak out of turn, but somebody make the comment like, well, we're not that good. We don't worry about Turkey, or Turkey doesn't have a say, or some comment to that effect. And I believe Trump jumped right on that because you can't mitigate the people that are trying to get involved. The people said, no, everybody has a say type thing. So I think it's in place. Things have been signed. They had the parties, but now it's only as good as this Abraham Accords and whatnot, how they balance it.
Right.
Everybody's got to play their part and everybody's got to do the right thing. But it is pretty monumental that they've even got to this point in the Middle East.
Yeah, no, that is pretty cool. So, I mean, I think he's getting that Peace Prize next year. A lot of people complained about the Venezuelan woman that got it. I shouldn't say complained, because she actually said, she herself said that Trump deserves it. But I also, the big caveat there is that they stop in January.
Right.
So if he doesn't get it next year, then there's a problem. But I did not.
Do you think there's a bias in the world against Trump, and we need the Nobel Prize to be taken from him to see it? I mean,
yeah.
It would be.
Well, I will say that woman, the Venezuelan woman. I don't know if you know much about her, the backstory of her, but she's kind of like there. I don't want to say Snowden, but right, she's the Republican voice against Maduro or whatever his name is, Venezuelan dictator.
Maduro.
Thank you.
And it's not Republican; it's conservative.
Yeah, okay. Put words in my mouth, but right, had to go into hiding. Right, she's got to travel, like she's got to move houses every couple months, stuff like that, underground. So the fact that she must have one hell of a team behind her, hell of a team behind her to stay hidden, or Venezuela's more deep shit than we thought if they can't track down one woman in their own country, because it's not that big of a country.
Well, we could very well be in a kinetic war with Venezuela pretty soon.
Yeah. Hey. They can't even get a boat across. I think we're good.
they're somewhat mobilizing now, yes, and we're, you know, those kind of places you have to be careful. If it's not done right, we wound up getting stuck in these little shithole places for 20, 30
For years,
years,
yeah.
right? With a police presence. And the only reason why I'm not too concerned is because it is somebody like Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump who seem to be what we've seen so far. They don't want these things dragging out.
Yeah, they
We
don't
get
want
in,
them dragging
we
out, and
do our
also,
job, and we get
yeah.
out,
But
right?
I also
No
wonder.
more
Sorry,
pussyfooting around.
I don't mean to cut
No,
you
go ahead.
off. Uh, who's backing Venezuela? China, probably.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah,
China,
probably
yeah,
it's
and
drugs,
Russia,
anything that's
so
pro-drug. But I think that they would, if a war broke out with the United States between Venezuela and the United States, I think China and Russia would drop them pretty quickly with all the shit that they got going on. It just doesn't make sense. Like Venezuela doesn't have the finances to fight a war themselves, like even less than Ukraine. They've been in debt, like that country's third world country equivalent at this point. So even if they were getting with everything going on in the world, like the major players, I think they kind of look at Venezuela like, okay, if you're going to war with the U.S., we don't want anything to do with you. Does that
but
make
you have to
sense?
remember, don't underestimate these smaller players, right? Nobody made a big deal out of that little skirmish in Vietnam until everybody started to get involved and things start to cave in because once one power gets in, now another one has to get in because they're they are backing this country that supports that country. That's where it's never just
Well,
about the, America fighting the UK or Britain for
right.
independence. There are more
People that
more
play.
entities involved now.
Yeah, and I get that, but when I still either way, I look at Venezuela. It's a failed country. I mean, to say the least. There's nothing really left in Venezuela because, right, I believe pieces of paper are worth more than their currency, like actual pieces of paper. So what do they have? Opium, right? Every time they try and get opium out, it just gets bombed out by some entity, either the United States, I know,
Well,
offshores.
remember, Venezuela has a lot of oil,
Sure, can't. It's not
tons of
helping their
oil.
economy.
Well, it does help because, they
All the
can
more
get it
reason for us to
to
take it
China
over.
who needs it. They can get it to. So it's not about, sometimes Maduro just becomes a puppet of China and they get the resources from there. So if
Yeah.
the US makes waves there, now China has an interest, right? Because now you're going to cut off their oil supply. So maybe they don't directly say, hey, we're going to take you on. Trust me, there's a reason why Trump is now going to Asia this week
Oh,
and
sure.
spending some time over there and talking to these individuals. The Chinese economy is a mess, right? But you can get away with a lot of stuff when you're a communist nation and
Yeah, it's
you're not
true.
democratic and you can get
But
a lot of
it's just tough to. I it's just tough for them to really get any help when they're not like it's not like Korea where they're literally touching China. Venezuela is like literally almost on the other side of the world.
Oh, right, but every now and then you find out, oh, there's a Chinese ship off the coast of Venezuela, or there's a Russian submarine out in the water. That's why it was such a big deal with Trump with Greenland, wanted by Greenland.
Yeah.
Everyone was up in arms. How dare he? Well, we need a presence in those areas to watch where all these ships are going. We're still living in a kinetic fighting world. People want to deny that, and that's everybody wants what the US and this side of the world has. We are constantly in defensive mode and need to be. And we make the mistake of agreeing, oh no, everyone gets along fine now. We're going to do all these economic concessions. Sure, it's great. That's a band-aid.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they want our resources. They want stuff from this side of the world and they need it. And they're prepared to take it at any time. They don't have to deal with the soft and warm and fuzzy, liberal world of, oh, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Yeah, well, tell that to communist
Right.
China or Russia and other countries. I just don't want to single them out. Iran, they'll step on toes. They don't care. They think they deserve it.
You know what Venezuela needs? They need to make money quick. Maybe they should pull off a jewelry heist.
Oh,
Did you see this? Video captures, I believe it's pronounced Louvre, right? The
No, the
Louvre.
Louvre.
I think it's pronounced with an A.
No, the
So it's
Louvre.
just Louvre? Okay.
The
Louvre,
Louvre.
did you see these guys steal these jewels, the crowns and stuff? Man, let me tell you, it was like a GTA heist, a Grand Theft Auto heist from the
Yeah.
games, like something you would see in a movie. These guys go in as construction workers. Let me tell you, these guys were pros, ma. Pros.
Mhm.
They go out, they take a little crane, as you can see, doing construction. They
Yep.
used a little glass cutter to get in, walk in, smash the thing with all the priceless jewels, which they allude is probably going to be around $100 million.
Yep.
Get it out. They dropped a crown, broke it, terrible, but they still got away with
Mm.
a lot of money. But very impressive, very well thought out. They still haven't caught these guys. How
Right.
crazy is that? Now, I always wonder though. Let's say you do this, right? How do you sell something like that?
Black market. They sell it on a black
Right.
market, which
They
is
sell it.
not real easily detected as much.
Yeah, and I figured that's how you would have to do it. But I'm like, how do you sell something that's so well known that, like, what do they do? Liquidate it? I don't. I always wonder how that
Well,
works.
I think you could do it a couple ways. Some of these things had multiple jewels in them, so the jewels
Right.
themselves are valuable if you break it apart. There are those out there in the black market who have enough money to say, "Yep, I want to own Napoleon's crown. I want that crown." And they're willing to pay $50 million for it on the black market. Everything's done, no, nothing's
Right. Just
publicized, cash transactions, whatever. They shove
sand
it
it
in
to
their
you.
basement. Yeah, their basement vault for 200 years, and it resurfaces out of the blue, generations later, and goes into Sotheby's and gets auctioned. I mean, we've had countless stories of that more recently with, say, the Nazis stealing
Yeah, Nazi
things
stuff.
from people.
That's true.
Um, but the interesting part of this for me is number one, that they did it, but I think you're going to find as the story unfolds, the cameras weren't working that were supposed to be, or they didn't have cameras at all on those particular jewels.
Well, you know, it's funny. They did this in broad daylight, like right at opening time. It's not
Yeah.
like they did this at night. This was they walked
Yeah.
in, normal day, construction
Okay.
workers. Oh, and this guy's just standing there taking a picture. This guy just
And
goes, mine
what's
now.
interesting.
Go ahead.
What's interesting about it, France right now is a shit show. They can't even get a prime minister. The government's in
Yeah.
a mess. They've had the yellow vest people for, I think they're on like 500 days now of protesting in that country. And so another socialist
Yeah.
sliding out of control country.
France is destroyed.
And I have a feeling you're going to find that the security was lax. They haven't been putting money into this place. Once again, probably corruption, and somebody's taken money from security that was supposed to go to the Louvre. And these individuals, they do this for a living. Probably they knew the timing and they knew the
Yeah.
weaknesses, and they took advantage of it.
I'm sure they scoped the place out for months. This is not something they just do in a day. Come up with it the night before. Probably went in as tourists, said, we could take that. That's easy. Here's the plan.
Or it was an inside job. People that
Yeah,
knew
maybe.
the place very well, they've shared the information.
They said that they asked the company that gave the cherry picker lift.
Yeah.
Apparently the company slogan is if you're in a rush, which I think is funny. But yeah,
Yeah.
just wanted that little tidbit. Let's we're
They
gonna
were in
make
a
this a
rush.
little faster. I might kill your your space one for
That's
now.
fine.
That
Yeah,
one we
that's
can
fine.
move. NBA coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat player Terry Rozier arrested in federal gambling cases. So I saw this today, and I saw some clips of Terry's game, like Terry's playing
Yeah.
basketball. Some turnovers that are just so makes no sense from a pro basketball player. You're like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you have more on this, but
Yeah, Billups is the Portland Trailblazer coach, and Miami Heat is Terry Rozier. They were arrested. Also, former player Damon Jones, I forget how they pronounce it. This whole ring has also got 4 of the mafia families involved in it. The
wow.
major mafia families. Yeah, this is big. This is big. And I saw a woman who's part of Mothers Against Gambling. She said this is the tip of the iceberg of what's been going on in these sports betting and whatnot.
So you're telling me Matt Sprague's been right this whole time about how sports are
He's right.
scripted?
They are.
I want you to know that
Some of them,
Matt Sprague's username on Steam right now is all sports were made by what are they called? Freemasons or whatever. I'm like, Matt,
oh,
come on. Go ahead.
um, they were accused. Some of them were accused. I think it was Bills was accused of rigging poker games, right?
Understandable.
Um, Jones leaked medical info regarding LeBron James before a game in 2023 and about Anthony Davis in 2024. By leaking that, you get an advantage in the
Right.
betting market, right? Rosier, he's even worse. He tipped a friend that he was going to fake an injury so that you could bet against him and his stats. Okay? That's a tough one because they had the game where he said he was going to do it and he got injured and he was out and made a big difference for the payouts for a lot of people. So this is going to be big. I think you're going to see a lot more people getting roped up into this. Their defense attorneys were saying, we want our day in court. Everybody knows like Billups is the most upstanding guy and blah, blah, blah. So this picture here, that's an x-ray table. So you can see the cards as they're face down
Oh,
underneath.
whoa.
So apparently they were using some pretty high-tech equipment for this poker ring that was
Damn.
but the betting against yourself, I know some of the sports guys were talking about it on ESPN and whatnot. And part of the interruption, that's pretty brazen when you're purposely tanking your stats to make money and have it funneled to you. We've
Yeah, that
gotten
is
to
pretty
that
crazy.
point.
Well, let's
Right.
just have to.
And I'm not surprised because of and I'm not blaming, like they asked FanDuel and FanDuel came out. Yeah, we don't, what was it at the end? We use advanced technology and real-time monitoring to identify suspicious activity and work closely with leagues, data monitoring groups, and law enforcement. They had to put out a statement. I mean, they're not involved in this, but there's such a big market now in between the FanDuels and the
Oh, yeah.
casinos and whatnot.
We talk about how
And
bad gambling is now.
Right, and everybody, doing it. Oh, we're all doing it for fun. Well, the fun is now becoming quite a big business, and you knew this was going to happen. Gambling's always been a nefarious type. It crosses over from being fun to being something else very easily, and when you got 4 mafia families involved in this ring, and the comment was also, "Hey, it's not just the NBA," which we know.
Oh, yeah. So, which is not great. We talked about the heist. I think I only have one gaming news, and I think we're good, Mom. CSGO just absolutely tanked their stock market, essentially. So Counter-Strike, they were the first ones that basically implemented skins, right? It's like
Oh yeah,
cosmetics, essentially, that are worth lots of money in real life, right? But now they basically made it so that certain items are now tradable.
Oh.
So gloves and knives can be traded. It's kind of tough to put it into words, but now they basically changed the entire way their market works. And some people, CSGO is so big, some people, they don't even play the game. They just trade and make millions of dollars, right? Some of them, their entire livelihood is based on this. So the market.
So somebody creates those gloves.
Yeah, Valve does.
And I can buy it and I can trade it with somebody
Yeah,
else.
it's based on. It's kind of like the original crypto in the sense of these things are original NFTs, I should say. Where
Why can't I make those gloves myself in the game?
Valve makes them. So Valve puts certain numbers out there. So there's a certain number of them.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
It works kind of like that, and then it's a randomized if you get them. But those gloves that you see, I don't believe are tradable. So you have to actually gamble on those to get them. So that's why they're so rare. There is a market on Steam. Here, I can actually show it to you. Hold on. It's been a while since I've been on I have a VAC ban, so I can't trade. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, that was for cheating in
Can't blame
CSGO
me.
when I was in that one I can't blame you on. CSGO. Let's see. These are all skins.
Okay.
Right? So each one is worth this much. So just to give you an idea of like what the most expensive stuff is, search items in Counter-Strike, we want price from highest to lowest. So some of these are $2,000+
Oh,
each,
wow.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Mom,
Crazy.
as of like yesterday, these were double that. But they lowered their market by making so many trades that. So it literally says the total market cap dropped from $6 billion to $3 billion.
Oh, wow.
That is a significant drop. So as I said, some people's entire livelihoods are in these trades, and then they go, "Hey, we're going to change it up." And now that they made the change, they can't go back. They can't take them off.
So what exactly was the change that they made?
The ability to trade items that couldn't be traded beforehand. Because so actually, let me put it this way. This is probably the better way of putting it. There's certain things that I can get that no one else can get. There was no other chance
Okay.
because there was only a quantity. Now anyone can get these as long as they
Okay.
spin
So
for
they
them.
open the
Yeah.
market. Okay.
So it's like
Yeah.
minting more Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right?
Supply and demand.
Yeah, supply and demand. So that, and then the trades changed. There's a lot of things that changed. But I mean, imagine being someone that. So see how it tells you? I have a wallet balance of 0 right now in here, but it'll tell you sometimes what your account is worth. So
Yeah.
you have that much to work with. Imagine having $1 million in this and then dropping down to 500,000. And you're like, oh,
Right. No. Yeah.
right? Same
Cancel
concept.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, again, it doesn't change the game itself. One second.
Right.
It doesn't change the game itself, like gameplay wise. But for people that had their finances locked into CSGO,
Big deal.
yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I don't know how, I never looked this up, how you would do it. But, right, like, let's say I make some sales. It goes into your Steam wallet. I don't know how you take it out of the wallet unless you sell on third-party organizations. Let me just see real fast. Dragon for price. Because there's third-party websites. Yeah. So right now, Mom, that's so crazy. Hold on, let's see. A Dragon lore right now. If you were to buy, so this was always crazy to me, Mom. This was the problem, right? So this skin in a game. Oh, Mom's texting. Mom lost interest. This in a game is worth that much money. How crazy is that? 12,500. Something that's not tangible. So it's basically the NFTs, right? If I add more of those, this price just starts going down because there's so many in the market. Yeah, supply and demand. But that's what I mean. Like, people, imagine having $12,000 in an account and then it's just going down to 0 because there's so many now. Doesn't make.
I think it's amazing that people are spending.
I know. Alan Kinsey on Fortnite. I'm telling you, Alan was putting tons of money into skins.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, but knives are always the most. Like, a knife is essentially the best thing you can get in a case. Some of those, like, I've sold a few knives on CSGO back in college because that's when we were playing it. We don't really play it anymore. But yeah, I mean, that bought all my video games for like a year. So that's how much these things were back then. And but you can only use it in Steam finances. It goes into your wallet, right? Your Steam wallet. I have to ask someone, because I've never looked into it, how you get that money out to like a bank account. See what I'm saying? And I know that there's exactly. And I'm sure there's websites that do it, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you them. So yeah. But Mom, I think that's pretty much it. We just did an hour 30.
Yeah, my meatloaf's ready.
Yeah, perfect timing. So
perfect timing.
I've been posting videos. Obviously, I've been a little too busy to do streaming. So yeah, I think the only thing I have to promote is we started the walkthrough for Mortal Shell, since the second one's coming out pretty soon. We still should be streaming, not the week this comes out, but the week after that. And then I might have one more week of travel after that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So social media, promo codes, stream links, Discord, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week. We might be able to do a podcast. Might be a Sunday, and it might be a live one.
Yeah.
Okay. Why was that?
Well, Grandma's having her procedure on Friday.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's right.
Nothing. My life is on hold until after Halloween.
Gotcha.
You know, like, that's a turning point.
So in other words, we might be doing a podcast down here again.
No, I doubt that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you know,
we'll see.
You never know what's going to happen. As Aunt Susan says, we're all working to the 31st. At least Susan Raymond and me. Beyond that, we can't.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Especially a live one. I wouldn't want to commit to that just in case something's going on. So I would say, you know, we could shoot for the 2nd. I think your brother might be in town that week. But yeah.
All right. Do you want to tell viewers that Grandma's doing her AFib thing again, just so viewers aren't like, oh no, what's going on?
No, she's just having a procedure done to help with her AFib. She's had it before, but
same procedure.
And
Age is different.
You never know, right?
Yeah. So. All right. Well, then we'll end it there. Social media, promo codes, stream links, Discord, and hopefully we will see you guys. Well, I'll see you in the next video, and you will see Mom at the next podcast. So, laters.